It's Tuesday, December 18th, 2017. I'm sitting on the dais and we're 2.5 hours into a city council meeting. It's being televised and I know my mom is watching. We're discussing a new state law which requires all California cities to hold their elections in even years on the same schedule as the president and Congress. Redondo Beach holds their elections in odd years, creating an issue on how to sync our elections. We've heard from the same 10 council junkies, and the next guy tees off. You're considering extending terms to comply? Only dictators like Vladimir Putin do that, and John Gran just said he's for extending. I say to myself, what? Now I'm Vladimir Putin? Oh, and my mom heard that. What the? I did not sign up for this. I grew up in the early 70s listening to my dad talk about politicians. He'd say, they don't do anything, they're slippery, and they just want more taxes. We need politicians that get stuff done. My dad passed away in 2005, but his views on politicians became mine. Politicians suck. A few years back, my wife Cynthia and I started a business here in the South Bay, and an issue came up that needed my city council member, a guy I'd spoken to many times before, but he's a bit of a weird bird. For 2 months, I tried to reach this guy. I emailed, called, texted multiple times, and I heard nothing. Crickets. I finally sent a polite, professional email stating this is just unacceptable. 1 minute after sending send, I get a text message back from him. John, you're now scaring me, and I consider this harassment. I forwarded your email to the police. Don't ever contact me again. I'm like, what the? I shared my frustration with Cynthia, and her advice is always, honey, you be you. In October 2016, I filed papers to run for city council. I'm going to take his office from him. This guy sucks, and I'm going to take it. In my 4-month campaign, I knocked on 3,000 doors, and I spoke with 1,600 voters, and I was everywhere. In the newspapers, making speeches, shaking hands, kissing babies, and I literally wore out one of my favorite pair of shoes. The best part is 45 days into the campaign, Mr. Weird Bird realizes he's going to lose in a landslide and drops out of the race, citing a back issue. 2 weeks later, I see him skipping along carrying his groceries. Really? Election night was super exciting, and my mom and Cynthia were beaming with pride. I was too, but man, did I need aspirin and a lot of coffee to recover from late night to vote counting. I won my election with 58% of the vote, beating 2 other candidates, and it was awesome. But here's the rub. My dad and I believe that politicians suck, and now I am one. It's my second week in office, and I proactively reach out to Mr. Fisher on Ford Avenue. Mr. Fisher lives right next to a small park, and the fence leans about 12 degrees towards his house. We discussed this fence during the campaign, and now I have Public Works promising to install a new fence in December, just 8 short months away. And then the park bathrooms flood. And then one of the schools needs repairs, and so on and so on. And I kept him updated, and from my larger view, I could see it's about city policies. But Mr. Fisher, he just wants his fence. On November 16th, 2018, 1 year later than promised, Mr. Fisher got his fence. Now, my dad would have made a big deal about measuring progress in glacial terms. Well, Dad, Mr. Fisher's really happy, and John Gran, the politician, got it done. Last May, I began receiving a barrage of emails from a resident named Bo. He lives on Harper Lane, which is a really narrow street right on the border of Hermosa Beach. He's upset because the guy across the street is rebuilding his house, and his new garage is eliminating Bo's personal parking spot that he's been using every day for 35 years. So yeah, he's really mad. Now, Bo's not one to sit in his undies and cry on Facebook, but he does perform endless legal research. And each email restates the legal reasons why I must stop this project. Legal fact number 1, Redondo Beach requires a 17-foot setback for a driveway. And legal fact number 2, this garage is set back only 3 feet. And you know what? He's 100% right. Thank you, Bo. You did your homework, and I love facts. I meet with Bo, and I reply to all his emails, and I personally deliver the same message. Bo, I'm really sorry about your parking spot. But you know the guy across the street lives in Hermosa Beach, not Redondo. And Hermosa's code legally defines your narrow street as an alley, and alleys in Hermosa only require a 3-foot setback. Case closed. Oh, and it's been that way legally for 40 years. You see all those garages? Bo just looks at me and says, John, if you really wanted to, you could stop this project. Well, the weird thing is, Bo looks like my dad. And here I am correctly telling my dad no, but he sees me as a slippery politician who simply won't go to bat for him. And yeah, there's a lot of Bos out there, and facts are facts, and legal is legal. Sorry, Dad. Last November, the hot topic was California's Prop 6, the repeal the gas tax measure, and Redondo needs to take a position. I hate taxes, and paying more for gas sucks. But repeal means losing $1.2 million for Redondo's roads. So ultimately, what's best for Redondo? At our next city council meeting, I made a motion to take an official position no on Prop 6. Again, I personally don't like it. The money helps our city, and the motion passes, and Redondo officially opposes Prop 6. Yes on no. After the meeting, I see one of my residents, Gary, and he says to me, John, how could you want more taxes? And just as I'm about to respond, he gives me the hand and walks away. Driving home, my stomach turned as I saw the gas prices, and I could just hear my dad's knowing laugh as I swallowed this hard choice. Deep down, I made the right decision for my city, but boy, did it not taste very good. Hey, Dad, can I have a bag of chips with that bile sandwich? Yeah, thanks. Recapping the meeting with Cynthia got me thinking that guy comparing me to Vladimir Putin just because I disagree with him on how to sink our elections. So just so we're clear, I can't just snap my fingers and extend our terms. I proposed a straightforward yes or no vote on a one-time future term extension, and we'll let the voters decide. Now, Vladimir Putin might applaud the extensions, but I'm certainly not using my iron fist to rule my people. So I see the guy's point. It's silly and attention-grabbing. Okay. Well, it didn't matter anyway. The mayor vetoes my motion, and Redondo ends up suing the state of California and wins. The judge rules that Redondo does not have to sink its elections. So we fought. I got called an unflattering name, and we ended up playing political football for 6 months, and in the end, nothing changed. It's just politics, right? We ended up doing nothing. At that moment, I realized I'd become the exact politician that my dad had described. Does nothing, uses slippery language, and asks for more taxes. But I was also the exact politician he asked for. I'm getting tons of stuff done for my neighbors. And Cynthia always points out that I'm happiest when I'm in GSD or get shit done mode. I stepped up and I took Mr. Weirdbird's office to GSD for my neighbors. Unfortunately, the price includes contradictions, hard choices, and a healthy dose of name calling. If Cynthia heard half of what the gadflies call me, she'd take a flamethrower to those nattering nabobs of negativity, and it wouldn't be pretty. But for me, the price is worth it. In GSD mode, Mr. Fisher got his new fence. I'm helping Bo come to terms with losing his parking spot, and I'm concerned about taxes and paving our streets. Oh, and Cynthia's right, GSD mode does make me happy. So Mom, please know I am not Vladimir Putin. You watch the meetings on TV and you can witness firsthand how happy I am handling our city's business and getting stuff done for my neighbors. And when I'm on the dais, I look right into the camera and I can see your smile. Dad would be proud of me too, even if that process makes me look and sound like a typical politician. Besides, I don't think Mr. Putin would have negotiated a peace treaty between the Perry Park seniors and the Quilting Club, but I did. On the other hand, if I suddenly make a motion to occupy Hermosa Beach to get Bo's parking spot back, then maybe you should start calling me Vlad. Thank you.